She's gonna scratch me. Oh, Hazel!
Come sit in my lap. Oh, I took the bucket! Oh, shoot! Give me that! My son!
Oh.
I took my bucket!
So much for that.
This is mine! Oh, you're so mean. It's your blue blue from... What?
Dora. No, really? You seriously? This is not a lay-in box, girlfriend. What the hell?
Nora, come here.
Okay. Be right there, guys. Just 1 second.
Oh, shit. Hey, bro, you don't work here.
It's my damn dog. That's my dog.
Until then, enjoy these animals.
Can you not do that, Xena? Xena, do not get on the horn. Get in the back. Don't do that. I'll be right back.
Ducky, come on, Ducky. Oh, man. Let's go.
Oh, my God.
I hope I'm about to go to the correct scene. I honestly, I can't remember. Yeah, that's good. That's right. Hey, everybody. How you doing? One second. There's the browser. Everything's not going to look super pretty right now. I'm still trying to get everything put together and everything working properly. And honestly, I've been trying to get this done for like a week, and I just decided, screw it. If I can't get it all perfect, just do it. How's everybody doing? I have not seen Ren Money Game 3 yet. I haven't seen that one yet. Hey, Clara, Brian, what's going on? Howdy, fancy people. Raina, how you doing? What time is it there for you, Raina? I can't remember what time zone you're in. Are you going to be able to be on for a while, or are you? I wasn't planning on doing any music requests right up front. I wanted to try to, what I'd like to try to do is establish some kind of a type of variety stream, live stream presence here on YouTube, and then move over to Twitch for the actual music reaction stuff. Because if you guys were here when I was doing the NF stuff, it was a little tough. We got a couple of times dinged with copyright stuff, and I'm a little nervous about the live stream affecting the eligibility of my whole channel. So I'm going to try to restrict that, I think, to Twitch. But if you can either stick around or be back in half an hour, 45 minutes or so, I plan on moving over to Twitch. If you follow me over there, then I will do the Ren thing there. Does that sound like a plan? Raina, I've forgotten how to pronounce your name now. I hope that's okay. I don't want to I don't want to do the music reaction stuff here. It got us into some trouble last time. So if you haven't yet, you can follow me over on Twitch. Clara, if you have it, you can throw the link in the chat. I think you can anyway. If not, I can do it. I'm pretty sure. For my Twitch channel. .tv. Rana, got you. Thank you. So sorry about that. It's been a long time since I've been on here with you guys. Well, I will be on probably for quite a while, so do check back, okay? And we'll try to get that done. Right now, I'm going to jump into this to some stuff that I've been seeing a bunch of stuff pop up on my feed on YouTube lately. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I think Variety is the one that's been making it come up on my stream mostly. There have been a ton of stuff, acting coaches doing this and doing that and reacting to this and that and everything. And I'm seeing a lot of it. I got to be honest, guys, got to be really honest. Some of these people don't know what they're talking about, like at all. Yeah, definitely do check back because I do plan on being on for a while tonight. And then I'm going to be back on again tomorrow in the afternoon. So if you don't catch me tonight, you can catch me tomorrow, and I will save that one for you. I will put that one on hold for you. Okay, Rana? I'll make sure. I will not do that particular reaction until you're here in the live with us, okay? Just because you've been so great in the fandom so far. But anyway, so if you want to see me get a little testy, you want to see me get a little like most of you who watch me probably are used to me being very sort of diplomatic, very even keel, trying to be fair, trying to, I try not to watch anything that I have to critique too hard. But this is one area about which I'm very passionate, and there are a ton of people out there giving really bad advice. And frankly, pardon the language, but it kind of pisses me off. So I don't know if that's what we're going to find today. I'm going to be reacting to a couple of these for the first time, just watching some of this content and seeing what they have to say. But I have watched a couple in the past, and some of the advice that they're giving is not awesome. And I think it's really doing a disservice to the craft of acting in general, but also to anybody who watches those things and thinks, hey, I can learn from this. I mean, that's a big thing right now on YouTube, in the world, right? You don't necessarily have to go to college. You don't have to go study. And that's true. You can learn most things from home, from YouTube, through local workshops and things. You don't necessarily need a fancy education. 100% true. But anytime there's a niche that is starting to get a lot of interest and gain some traction, you will start to see a lot of charlatans giving really bad advice. And that's what we're going to get into. So if you want to see me get a little bit testy, this might be the place to be. Yeah, well, some of the dodgy reactors, I would love to see that too. That's another thing. You guys could send that to into Discord, in one of the request channels, or even in the lounge. I'm not sure if there is a general request for just anything, but if it's about acting, you can throw it in the TV or film and TV channel. If it's about a music reactor and you want me to check that out, absolutely throw that in the music reaction channel on the Discord, and I'll definitely give it a look. I would not mind at all. Again, I'm not here to hate on anybody, but it's a little different when somebody's making art and they're a musician, they're a singer, they're an actor, and they're doing their best to put their art out there. Maybe they fall short, but that's not anything to be hated on, right? I never want to begrudge anybody their form of expression. But whenever you're critiquing or whenever you're trying to instruct and you're doing it badly, that's when I don't really have a lot of a problem telling you when you're full of doo-doo. Okay, so this could be fun. We'll see how it goes. But right now, the first thing I did pull up several videos. If there are any specifically out there that you'd like me to check out, if you've ever come across any, do let me know either here in the chat. I'm not sure if you can post links, but the Discord is open. I don't have a link to the Discord available to me right now, but I'll get that in a minute. I'll put it in the chat. You could sign up there. There are some free channels, and you can leave the requests there. Just let me know about them here so I can go check them out. I am a one-man show at the moment. Mostly Clara's here to help, I'm sure, but she's volunteer labor, so I don't expect her to be around every time for every stream. So for the most part, just let me know when you send something over there, and I'll go check it out. Right now, we're looking at something called Pro Acting Coach. Shares the top tip for all actors. Already, I'm skeptical, I gotta say, because that seems a little too sort of get rich quickie for me. I don't like the way they phrased it. Of course, it could just be clickbait. I get it, I don't watch a ton of these. I'm sure they're just trying to get it clicks in. But you're overpromising, I think, a little bit. I don't know that you're going to have the top tip for all actors, but we'll see. We'll see. I have very definite opinions on this subject, and on most things, I'm very willing to admit that I don't know much. And on this subject, I'm very willing to admit that I don't know everything, and that my way is certainly not the only way. There are many ways to both teach and to perform as an actor and acting coach. But there are also very definite wrong ways to do it. So those things are not always completely subjective. Sometimes there are some objective wrong ways. So we're going to take a look at this anyway. I don't know who this guy is. He looks really familiar. I think he's an actor. He looks really familiar. But this is Pro Acting Coach shares the top tip for all actors. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm also getting used to the new button layout. Everything's a little crazy. So if I flash before, different screens flash on there, or if the audio is not right, just let me know in the chat. I'll try to get it fixed for you. But we're going to take a quick. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Is that good? That's good. I think that's good. We'll see how this goes. Okay. So here we go. Trying to decide if I want to record this too. Here we go. Let's see what this guy has to say.
I get to work with thousands and thousands and thousands
Good
of actors. And if there was one single tip that I could give them, it would be...
I love the tease. Gotta say. It's a little cheap, but I dig it. Working for that engagement.
All right, so seriously, if you want to be a professional actor, and you want this to be your career, there's literally one thing that I would tell every actor out there: do this. And if you do this, then you will find the success that you desire in the entertainment business.
Just keep going.
And that's to train. Not only train, it is to stay training, to dedicate yourself to working on your craft every single week.
Okay.
Every single week. And there is no end point to that. See, we believe there's a sports mentality that actors have to have in order to be successful in this business. And that would be hopping in the frame of mind of an athlete. Think of an Olympian. Olympians don't become gold medalists and all of a sudden think, oh, well, I've got a gold medal. There's no more refinement. There's no more work. I'll just go to the Olympics in another 4 years and I'll win gold again. No, you won't. Every single one of those Olympians has their coach next to them. Why? Because the coach is there to go, nope, a little bit more. It's got to be a little bit higher. Tighten those edges. And it's not that the Olympian doesn't know what they're doing. Take their coach away. Could they perform? Yes. But the athlete always wants to what? Improve. Get better.
Look, he's not wrong. He's not wrong about this at all. It's a little cheap. I guess maybe it's not. Okay, I tend to come into this space from the perspective of or at least assuming that anybody who's wanting to discuss these things, deal with this kind of stuff, and you're talking. I mean, I kind of come in with the basic package. I think you're coming to me knowing that this is something you have to work at. This is just a life lesson in general. This is not about acting specifically. Anything that you do, you're always going to want to keep preparing, keep improving. And, I could actually point to, look, I could get in trouble for this. Do you want me to point to one actress in particular who I was so impressed with when she first kind of hit the scene and kind of hit it big a decade ago, but she just never improved. Like, she was great. She had all of this natural skill. She had all of this natural talent. I'm going to leave this here for you guys to try to figure it out. All right. So this particular actress, she came onto the scene as a teenager, beautiful girl, very passionate, very expressive, naturally talented, naturally charismatic, and sort of had that natural fourth wall that would go up, kind of like a James Dean type persona. Like, she would just get into it and she'd be in it completely. No concern for how she looked or what her face looked like. No concern for being pretty or trying to stay, whatever. She just went for it hard. And I was really impressed by that when she was young. But as the years went on, I started hearing things all over the place about how she doesn't really, and she would say it flippantly in interviews, I don't really care about learning my lines. It's not important. You just get up there and you just do the thing. You don't really, and she just was approaching the whole thing with this sort of very blasé attitude. She had a huge franchise when she was like 18, 19 years old, of which she was the star. She had several very artsy films, and I think made one of the biggest mistakes that young actresses make, which was falling in love with her director, and who used her in several films. How did you get that already? How did you get that already? Clara, you're no longer allowed to vote to guess. You can't vote in these anymore. You can't do it. Yeah. So Jennifer Lawrence was amazing. Is amazing. Sort of like she's a person who has a ton of natural talent, I should say, but she never really took the time to develop the skills that you need to get consistently better, to keep growing. And that's kind of what he's talking about here. There are other actors, other actresses that kind of follow the same vein. And she basically disappeared for a while, if you didn't notice. She was not that great to work with. A huge part of making it in any collaborative effort like filmmaking. And I'm not Hollywood. I've never been in Hollywood, so I don't want to claim to have insider information there. But I have worked on several productions. I've worked in tight-knit groups. I've worked as an outsider in tight-knit groups. And the biggest key to success as an actor, in my experience, and from what I've heard other people say about places like Hollywood, is being somebody that people want to work with, showing up, putting in the effort, going the extra mile, doing what it takes to create the art, care about the art, to show real interest, real passion, and to be supportive and be a good scene partner, be a good crewmate, a good cast member. That's what it takes. And when you don't put in the effort and you treat the craft like it just comes easy to me, and it might, but you will never be a Leonardo DiCaprio. You'll never be a Meg Ryan. You'll never be a Meryl Streep. You'll never be these people, Marlon Brando, Al Pacino. You'll never be these people if you just rely entirely on your charisma and your talent, your God-given talent. You need to develop the skills. But again, this is really just a life lesson. So I feel like this first video here it's kind of a cop-out. It's a little bit of a cop-out. Kate Winslet, cough, cough. I think that's in one of that scene from, what is that, Revolutionary Road, I think. That scene's in one of these videos that I pulled up, I think. Leo's amazing. I know Kate's amazing. Kate's great. She's incredible. Leo, he blows my mind all the time, which is amazing. But okay, let's get back to it. Let's see what else he has to say. I think this is going to be pretty cheap. It's a really simple sort of life lesson, sort of piece of advice. It's not really about acting specifically, so I'm kind of disappointed in our first selection here.
Get better, get sharper, get more specific. And as an actor, we should always be in that same frame of mind. You got to go in and you've got to compete for these roles. If every audition is a competition, and we believe that it is, that means that you've always got to be at peak performance because you are competing against other actors literally for that job. You are employed and then you are unemployed. And then we're back to auditioning again and competing to get back onto set. So that's why we believe training is the key. Staying sharp, getting better every single week, getting more specific. Because when you have to sit in that audition room and look across the way and see your competition, you've got to have an edge like, good luck. Because you know how hard you're working, and you know why you deserve to be there. Because you're working as hard, if not harder, than every other actor that you're competing against.
I mean, I like everything he's saying, but
it's going to give you a confidence.
It's
so
just,
my best
again,
advice to you,
the
best tip that I can give you, if you want to be an actor,
no matter
if
what
you want to go and get an Academy Award and an Emmy one day,
that should never really be the goal.
Train every week.
That won't help you get there.
Train every day. Train and coach on every audition so that you can be competitive and you can book the roles. Stick with it. I promise you, it'll pay off.
All right. All right, so that was the first one. That wasn't as exciting as I was hoping it would be. The thing about that last little promise he made, I don't think that, honestly, I mean, there's an expression that it's actually was repeated recently in a Taylor Swift song that I did a reaction to, but the best movies ever made. The best movies were never made, I think is what is how the expression goes. And it can be applied to most art forms, but the best actors never made it big. Whoever you find out there, there are some incredible actors, from Daniel Day-Lewis, and we talked about some of the other ones, Denzel Washington, Kate Winslet would be one. There are some incredible actors and actresses out there, but I guarantee you, for every one of them that you feel like is at the top, the absolute top of all the actors you've ever seen, somebody out there was better and didn't make it because they X because they didn't have enough money to train when they were younger, because they didn't have enough money or freedom to go to the right school, because their life circumstances wouldn't let them, because their own self-doubt got in the way, because somebody destroyed them when they were trying to train, trying to learn, trying to grow, and they never recovered because they just weren't persistent enough, because they just didn't keep trying, because they just walked away. There's always somebody who is better than the best person you think there is, who just never made it. So yeah, the thing about winning the Oscar, winning the Grammy, there's so much more involved in that between the politics of it and everything, that I don't know that you could train enough to secure that. You certainly don't hurt your chances if you are constantly trying to train and grow and improve your craft. But the greatest films of all time were never made. There it is. So I liked it. Okay, it was fine. That was fine. There was nothing wrong with that. I'm trying to find ones that aren't of incredibly small creators right now, because this guy has 312,000 subscribers, so that's not very small. I just don't want to feel like I'm picking on people who maybe don't have a ton of viewership. You know what I mean? So we're gonna check this one out. This one is called Essential Acting Lessons for Beginners. 4 steps acting advice. I have to remember again, this is for beginners. Oh, and this is from a channel called the Actors Academy. It's got 312,000 subscribers. I'm going to put the link, if I can, in the chat. I should have done that with the other one as well. So if you guys want to, after watching it, if you guys want to check out the channel, give them a like or a subscribe or whatever, you absolutely are free to do that. I'm not going to encourage it yet because I haven't seen anything he has to say. So let's just check it out and see. I don't know why you had to start with your shirt off, bro.
So, acting lessons for beginners. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Great. If you've been in your acting classes before and you've been wondering, why is your acting not really working out? Why are some people better than others? What are they doing? It's a very simple thing. It's the act of being in your flow state. A lot of actors, what happens is especially in the beginning, is you're in a state of not working on your instincts, where you're in your head and you're constantly thinking, oh my gosh, what do I have to say next? What am I going to do? How do I make this scene interesting? I hope the people in the class like me. I hope the instructor likes me. You have all of this running through your head, and this spirals you. And the thing is, when that happens to you, you're not working on your instincts. So actors, for example, like Meryl Streep, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hiddleston, Al Pacino, all of these big actors, they're all working on their instincts. And that's what we have to get all of you to do. If you're a beginning actor, most likely your scenes aren't looking good or your monologues aren't looking good because you're not in that flow state. So
okay, so I don't know how to feel about this one, because like some of the stuff he's saying is right. Absolutely, especially when you're first starting out, but it never really goes away throughout your career. You're always going to have that little voice in your head that's like, are they going to like me? Am I doing it the right way? Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? There's always going to be that little voice that never really goes away, and that's great. And sure, you got to work through that and get to the place where that is not dominant. But flow state is great, but that's not a thing you can rely on. You can't, I mean, whether you're an actor or an athlete or whatever you're doing, an architect, you can't rely on flow state, on being able to get into flow state all the time, every time, because it doesn't always click that way. The best times it does, but sometimes you have to work through that stuff. And the best way and there are different ways to do that. I'm not going to get into that just yet. I'm going to wait to see what he has to say, but he's kind of making it seem like, I don't know what he means by you're not working on your instincts. That doesn't make any sense to me, what he's saying. If any of you have an idea, if you think you know what exactly he's talking about, feel free to leave it in the comments in the chat. But I'm not following that. You're not working instinctually because you're too much in your head is kind of what I think he's trying to say. You're too much in your head, and you're too conscious of your movements and of your words and the way you're saying things and the way you're sitting and standing and what other people are thinking. So you're not working from instinct. That makes a little bit more sense, but not working on your instincts doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. In an audition, that's not something that you would do probably. There are specific exercises designed to help actors develop the ability to sort of quiet down those voices and move and operate emotionally off of instinct. But I don't know where he's going. I don't know what the tip is right now. Right now, what I'm getting right now is the first step is to operate, is like to work on instinct, I don't know I just don't know what that means. Good night, Clara. Thanks so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Darcy's not here. Darcy, hey, how's it going? Nice to see you. I didn't recognize that was you a second ago. It's really great to see you in the chat. Thank you so much for showing up and supporting the stream. I really appreciate it. We're just checking out some actory lesson-y type things, some content. I haven't looked at a whole bunch of stuff like this on my channel in the past. So I really want to get into some of it. So also, I kind of feel like there's a lot of bad advice out there. So we're trying to dig in, but I really do appreciate you showing up. By the way, Darcy's not here, is a YouTuber herself. If you get the chance, do go support her content. Going in with the Taylor Swift lyric. I just did a full reaction to the folklore, is it called the Long Pond Sessions, I think. It was it's only the second thing really by Taylor that I've ever heard. I did her the 10-minute short film, All Too Well, and then I did the Miss Americana, and then I just did the Long Pond Sessions. I'm going to be doing more, but anyway, so that's where I heard it. Thanks so much for being here. It's really awesome. I feel like a celebrity just came in the chat. Anyway, yeah, Darcy's not here. Has Long Pond, is that not what it is? Anyway, I will get you a link to that. Don't you worry. I'll get you a link that you can check out to that. Absolutely. But yeah, she does have her channel, or her own channel, a couple of them actually. So do go check her out. I'm sure you can get to one of them, I think, through clicking on her name there. She does a lot of reaction content. She's absolutely amazing. She's hilarious, and she's got a huge, amazing heart. I love listening to her kind of freak out about and geek out about these shows that she watches. So do go check that out. Okay. Enough with the plug. So we're going to get back into this really quickly. I don't know how I feel about this guy. It's kind of where I'm sitting right now.
I'm going to be telling you all how you can go and get into that flow state, how you can avoid some things that take you out of that flow state, and this is going to be a complete guide for all of you in the beginning stages of acting. But with that being said, you could be right now an intermediate actor who's been studying acting for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you still have these moments where it's not working out or you're getting caught in your head. And these things will help you and bring you into your flow state.
Darcy.
Point number one is this. So a lot of actors, what gets you out of your flow state is constantly being in your head. So I want you to picture the last time that you were in an acting class or you got an audition for yourself and you recorded.
Oh, Clara, if you're still here, Darcy does a lot of Buffy content. You would absolutely love it. You should go check it out.
In your self-tape, you got everything set up, and then you start getting in your head. A lot of the times these thoughts will come through when you're not memorized on your text, because you're thinking, hey, what do I say next? Oh, what are they going to say? And you're not truly memorized. When you're not memorized in your text, it puts you in your head. It puts all of us in our head. I get in my head, Meryl Streep's going to get in her head, everybody's going to get in their head when they don't have their lines down.
I need to know what he said.
Get in my head.
When your lines are not memorized, you tend to lose confidence in yourself, which leads to blockage in your flow state, I guess. I don't really like the use of this term flow state in this context, but okay, that's not bad. I get it. By developing your memorization skills, you will not have to deal with this trouble. And henceforth, nice word, henceforth, you will be able to better sustain yourself in your flow state. I guess. Yeah, I guess. It does tend to trip you up when you lose a word, when you lose a line of dialogue. And it can kind of put you back in your head. So I know, I see exactly where he's going.
Meryl Streep's going to get in her head. Everybody's going to get in their head when they don't have their lines down.
True.
So for you, what you should start working on.
Not really. No, actually, okay. That's actually not right. Everybody's going to flub a line. I don't care how good you are. Eventually, you're going to flub a line. As a matter of fact, talking about Buffy, there is a thing that goes around about Sarah Michelle Gellar that she always knew hers and like everybody's lines. Like she knows her script. She came in prepared. She came in ready. This is Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Cruel Intentions, Scooby-Doo, right? The thing about her in Hollywood, people who've worked with her say that she absolutely knows. She comes in completely prepared, knows her lines, like forwards and backwards. But even people who come in like that, whether it's fatigue, whether it's a simple distraction, a bad day, a bad week, some kind of life event, something else going on set, everybody forgets and misses a line. There are very simple techniques that you can practice, that you can rehearse inside of yourself to hold on to that quote unquote. I think I know what he means by flow state. It's not really a flow state, I don't think, but if what he's talking about is basically staying in the character, in the scene, and not breaking your immersion, sort of not breaking the fourth wall, staying in it. There are ways to do that, even if you flub and miss your line. One, it's really helpful if you have a great supportive a co-star cast member who's there with you, who can sort of help you pick it up if it's a thing that you need to do that with, especially on stage if it's live. But it's not necessarily true that just flubbing a line is going to take you out of that space. There are ways to avoid that.
Getting your lines memorized for yourself. Really start working on that. And are these getting in the way? Is this making sound? I'm gonna switch fingers on these. Anyways, if you can work on your memorization, it helps build confidence for you as an actor. And confidence is one of the more memorized you can be, the better you can have. So in the past, we've already done videos on how to go and work on your memorization process. But for this video, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys 3 things that you can start implementing today to start working on your memorization.
He's got
Sometimes
a 10-hour.
one of these things, or maybe you can use all of them for yourselves. So obviously,
he has a 10-hour master class. What? You guys let me know. Anybody who watches this, watches the VOD of this or whatever later in the comments, or anybody here in the chat, let me know if you'd like to see me. I'd be willing to sign up for something like that and kind of give it a look and see if it's worth doing. Sort of like I did it so you don't have to kind of deal. Let me know.
Or maybe you can use all of them for yourselves. So obviously you're going to be doing the whole guerrilla style of just getting your scene and just reading it over and over and over. That's the obvious thing. But these other 3 things you can add are this. One of them is recording your lines.
That's
just
really
your
not
lines,
an effective way to do it.
You record it on your phone, and then you have it repeat on over and over and over. You just loop it, and you can have it be playing while you're going for a run. You could be going for a walk. You could be doing dishes, and you just have your lines playing over and over and over. Subconsciously, you start getting those lines into your head.
Okay, couple of things. One, his first take that just reading it over and over again is actually not a very effective way to memorize for most people. Everybody has their own things, and if it works for you, that's great. But generally, that's not one of the first things I would suggest if somebody's having trouble reading their lines. Usually because that's the first thing people try, and it doesn't really work for a lot of people. This next thing, recording your lines onto like audio, right, and replaying it back, it's fine. But there are a couple of points that you really need to take care of. If you're an actor out there, there are a couple of things you really need to do. I just hope I just messed up my camera. I don't like that. I don't know why, but it's blinking yellow at me. Anyway, a couple of things you need to do. One, is I don't know what's happening. I'm making gestures and my camera's reading them. Anyway, so the first thing you need to do if you're going to record your lines and then play them back to yourself is you need to make sure you do it as monotone as possible at a steady pace. You don't want to do it. You don't want to interpret the text as you're reading it, because you don't want to get into a set way of saying things when you're just by hearing it, especially if you're not reading or having somebody read the other lines in the script. And 2, you want to listen to it consciously. You don't want to just let it play. It's sort of in the background while you're doing things. That won't help you much at all. You want to be listening to it consciously and speaking along with it when possible. Otherwise, like Siri, yes, exactly like Siri, 100%. Maybe a little more steady. Siri tends to be a little choppy with her delivery, but no, yeah, that's really important that you don't want to give any inflection. So that's good advice. It's just a little incomplete.
And then you don't have to think about the text anymore. Point number 2 for memorization is to summarize what you're saying. So you don't have to be exact on the words. You're literally going and improving it, and you're just going through. You've already read it through maybe 4, 5, 10 times, and now you're just going to improv it for yourself and think, okay, what am I trying to say? Because once you start realizing what you're trying to say, it's so much easier for the lines to get stuck in your head. The third point for memorization is
that is terrible advice. This is the first time I felt like I needed to move the microphone away from my face. That's horrible advice. If anything, you should be being as specific as possible with the text. If you have time to memorize, I know sometimes in film, you don't really have time. They give you new scripts, updated pages, day of. You don't really have a ton of time. But if you have time to memorize your script, even if you only have 20 minutes, be as specific as possible. Now, in the actual performance, especially if you're just auditioning, especially if it's an early audition, like a first audition, it's okay not to be concerned. You don't want to get in your head about it if you say and instead of but or something like that. You know, if you say can't instead of cannot, you don't want to get in your head about it if you make a small mistake. You want to just push through with the intention of the text and just get through the scene. Emotionally, you really want to deliver. Don't worry so much about the text. That's my biggest thing, actually, that he hasn't talked about. I don't know if he will. The text really isn't very important. Don't tell writers that. But once you get it in, but when you're rehearsing it, when you're trying to memorize, specificity is your friend. The more specific you can get, the better. 100%. You want to work on that text as though each and every word has to be said or you won't get the job, specifically the way it's written. Then when you get on stage or you get in front of a camera and you're doing your audition, If something gets flubbed, if something gets sort of changed or a little adjustment happens, it's okay. Just go through it. Don't stress over that. But the whole point is the more specific you are when you're memorizing, the easier it will be to simply allow yourself to just run through it when you're actually on the stage or in front of the camera. So that's terrible advice. That's awful advice.
Is literally to go and just do a second activity while you're trying to learn your lines. So while you're working on the process of memorizing your lines and going through the text, have something else that you're doing. If you're focusing on something else and you're not just focusing on the lines, it allows you to start memorizing the lines even more. So for example, the second activity could be anything. You could be fixing the wheel on your bike. You could be having a ball and tossing the ball in the air. You could be going and cleaning your room. The whole point is for you to just go and do another activity so you're not thinking 100% on the lines, but you're doing two things at once, which allows those lines to get more memorized inside your body.
Okay, so inside of the body, maybe not, but yeah. So I'm gonna add my own little thing here, if you guys don't mind, and give you my little tip on how, like, this sort of a basic overview of how you should be memorizing. Saying the text, you should be repeating the text. The best way to do it is to repeat the text from the beginning, word for word. While doing another activity is great, or with a partner is great. Either way, if you can do either of those, it's even better. But however you do it, going over the lines word for word from the beginning, and then when you flub even a little word, you start over at the beginning and you start again. If you have to stop and say, like the line is, I can't go, I have to be home by 6. I can't go, I have to be, you can't remember. So you're like, I can't go, I have to be, I can't go, I have to be, I can't, until that line comes to you. If you have to stop and read it, then go back and start again. I can't go, I have to be home by 6. And you want to be able to do it in a monotone way, from beginning to end, all of your lines without the other person's lines involved, simply as though it were a giant monologue. I can't go, I have to be home by 6. My mother told me that if I don't get home in time, that I'm going to be in big trouble, or whatever the thing is. You just keep reading the lines over and over in your mind from beginning to end. When you flub it, go back to the very beginning, start over. You can have sections you can cordon off if it's a long script or a long side, and you can do them a section by section. But then, once you get it down well, then you do the whole thing from beginning to end. That's the best way to do it. An activity is great. Throwing a ball, as long as it doesn't require too much brain power. You don't want to be doing math homework while you're trying to memorize your lines. You don't want to be doing any complicated mechanical project while you're memorizing your lines. Something that you can do on autopilot. Washing dishes is a good thing. Throwing a ball is a good thing, sure. The point of that is to simply be able to take your focus off of, take the pressure off and allow the lines to kind of sink in a way that you can act, do different things, move, and it won't take the lines away. You won't lose the lines because you have to, I have to catch the ball now. That's the whole point of that. Getting it in your body, that's more what blocking is for. That's later. So I didn't really like to use that phrase, but that's my tip. That's how I would, if you asked me, that's my number one go-to for how to help people learn to memorize their lines more appropriately, more effectively.
Point number 2 for how to go and be in the flow state is having a process and a way of getting into your characters. So here's an easy way to start working and building character for yourself. It has to do with your breath. So I want you to think about this in your real life. If you're in a situation and you're with your best friend and you're arguing with them, if you're in a heated debate, any sort of argument that you've ever had in your life, is your breathing the exact same as how you're watching this video now? No, it's not. It changes. It fluctuates. So depending on the mood you're in, depending on the emotion that you're in, will affect how you're breathing. If you've ever been in class before and you've been nervous to raise your hand, or you're worried, oh my God, is the teacher going to call on me because they've seen that I haven't raised my hand, and then all of a sudden your breath starts getting a little bit more shallow, and then your body starts to tense up a little bit. Your breath affects your body. It affects how you interact with another human being. So try and think about when you're in a scene, what is the breath of this character? What's happening? Are they calm? Are they relaxed? Are they trying to win this person over? What is actually happening, and what is their breath? What is the state of their breath right now? So let me give you an example. Hold on.
So before he gives us an example, here's a couple of things. So one, he's not wrong. When you're trying to find an emotional place, one of the more effective ways to do it is to prepare your body for that emotion. There's a huge debate. It's a chicken and the egg debate about what comes first? Is it the chemicals that happen, or is it a mindset? Is it a mental thing? Is it just purely psychological? Is it some ethereal spirit, soul, aura, thing that happens that makes us afraid, and then our mind reacts by shooting cortisol through our system, or shooting adrenaline through our system? Or is it the adrenaline and the cortisol that come first, and then we feel the stress and the anxiety as a result? It's a big debate. There are a lot of answers to it that are effective, but in this context, yeah, if you have to go on scene, if you're coming into a scene, especially, and you already need to be in an emotional state, a certain emotional state, especially a heightened one, taking some time, making your breath more rapid, tensing your muscles, using your body, that all works. And that's all really great to help sell and to deliver, to sort of conjure up those emotions inside of you as an actor. But if you don't do the emotional work, the prep work before that, like that's like step number 2. You have to do the emotional prep. You have to do the mental, psychological prep. And then when you're about ready to go on, when they're about to call action, or when the curtains are about to go, or it's about to be your cue, then you start working on the physical stuff. But you have to have the mental sort of groundwork laid ahead of time. So I don't know that kind of made it seem like that was like a one level answer. Like it was like, this is all you need to do in this instance. This is one thing that you can do on its own that will get you what you need to get you to a place emotionally that you need to be. And it won't. It'll make you breathe heavy. It'll make you sweat. But if you've ever seen somebody smile on camera, if you ever seen an actor smile or laugh, but there was just nothing going on behind their eyes, and you could just feel that they weren't really giving you anything, that's what will happen if you just use your body. Get your heart rate up, get a little sweat, get a little flush, and then go out there and try to deliver a really emotional, really passionate scene without doing the emotional and psychological groundwork first. So it's a little incomplete again.
I had to go and do a scene, and I had to be, say, afraid or scared. Well, what's going to happen is
this one is actually a little bit
I'm
dangerous.
trying to get into that breath state.
If you're talking to new actors, if you put it this way.
All of a sudden, you can see that there's a shift that's happening there. It's happening in the body, and it's happening in the eyes. And I'm not thinking, okay, what are my eyes doing? What is my body doing? But it's naturally, instinctively, which is what we want to get you to do. It instinctively allows your body and your eyes and everything to follow your breath and what's happening. If you're playing a character now who's more nervous, and their breath is a little bit more shallow, and it's not strong at all, it's very small, very condensed. You don't even take a full deep breath in. It'll kind of change how you interact and how you see the world. So as you can see, it doesn't take long to try and implement this. A lot of people think with acting, sometimes it's so hard to get into an emotional state or get into a place of being or figuring out their characters. And honestly, it's not that hard if you know some of the simple tools that you can implement for yourself. So this breath work, using your breath to get into the scene,
those
find
are
that emotion,
cheats.
is
That's
super
not a
easy,
tool.
it's really effective, and it works fast.
Sir.
And ultimately, it allows you to use your instincts, which puts you into that flow state. Point number 3 is making more eye contact.
Okay. I mean, yeah. It's okay. It's all right. I get it. Sure. It's fine. If you're a new actor, look, it's not bad advice, but it's very incomplete. It is not as simple as getting your body to express a certain physical state, like heightened awareness, anxiety, fear, by making your breath more rapid, these kinds of things. That will happen, sure, but that's not going to help you once you get into the scene if you don't do the groundwork first. And there's no time right now to get into all that groundwork. I did it again. Hold on. Don't do it. Sorry, I need to turn that off. My thing keeps... my camera has AI and it moves, and I keep accidentally gesturing to it. But just don't take this advice if you're a young actor or a new actor, and think that this is all there is to it. There's way more that goes into what this is like an additional tool that you can use to just further the foundational work that you've done, right? This is not an end all be all.
Contact with people. So the eyes, and I've talked about this in a lot of my videos before, is the gateway in stage, is that you're using your whole body. Everybody's going to see you. You can be 100 feet away from people, and you're just trying to let everybody see you in the room. You got to use your physicality a little bit more. When the camera's on you, your eyes are telling a huge story. Now here's the thing that gets you out of your flow state and not using your instincts. A lot of people, especially in today's age, are not used to making eye contact with people. If you go out and you just talk to people, see how good their eye contact actually is. It makes a huge difference with somebody who can have strong direct eye contact with you compared to people who can't and have to keep looking and shifting away, and they can't maintain eye contact for quite a long time. It tells a completely different story. And because we're not used to it, what happens is when you're in front of the camera and you're working with a scene partner, you are not comfortable making eye contact with them, and the camera picks it up. It's a little bit harder on stage. It can still be picked up on stage if you're in a class situation because it's close enough to see your eyes, but it's really picked up a lot on camera because the camera is getting this and everybody's looking at your eyes. So what happens is then you start getting uncomfortable, and you start being in the scene with this person but not truly with them, and you're uncomfortable in that moment. And if you're uncomfortable, it starts putting up walls and barriers for yourself. Just think about anytime you've gone on a date with somebody. When you're comfortable, everything's going great. But when you're not comfortable and you're kind of nervous and you don't know what to say.
First of all, I'm never comfortable on a date. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know being comfortable on a date was a thing that a human being could do. I must be doing something wrong. Secondly, he's not wrong here. This one's not so bad. There's actually a scene in a TV show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Darcy, I don't know if you're still here, but if you are, you'll remember this, I think. There's a scene in season 1, episode 7. It's called Angel. The scene is the episode's called Angel, and this is the first time you get to see the protagonist. It's a band named Angel, and it's an antagonist, or not the antagonist. The protagonist in that episode is Angel. You have Buffy. And the love interest is Angel. Protagonist. Buffy's the protagonist. Angel's the love interest. And they get to the really first scene. That's really the first time they get a scene like that together, sort of a very romantic, close, intimate scene together. They're in her home. He's got his shirt off, and she's tending a wound. It's a very intimate moment. And one of the things I love to point out the most about that particular episode, that particular scene, that really it completely impresses me. From a chemistry perspective, these two actors were just so on when they were on the camera together, is the way they lock eyes. And if you'll watch David Boreanaz is the actor, if you'll watch his eyes when he sees Sarah Michelle Gellar and she looks down, his head kind of ducks, and then she looks over to the left and he kind of looks over to the left. And it's almost like there's a string connected between their noses and they're just attached and they just move together. It's like that line from oh, what was that movie? There's some movie with these two actors. I know I've seen it, but I can't remember the name of it. I never really watched most of it. I just remember bits and pieces. But there's one line where this character's mom says that you're different when you're with him. He moves, you move like magnets. I remember that line so intensely because it describes what we call the invisible thread really well. I can't remember the name of that film, but that's sort of the phenomenon that I'm talking about here. Having that connection with somebody is really important, especially on camera. He's 100% right. But there are more ways, even on camera, that you express that kind of connection. It might be that was not Kristen Dunst, the other one, the brunette Kristen, right? Yeah, I think that might be it. They were outside on a balcony. I just remember that line so well. That you're like magnets is what really got me. He moves, you move like magnets. And it's a really, really powerful statement because it's a thing that happens with people every day, even in casual conversation. Whenever you are listening to somebody, you're connected in a way that is not necessarily tangible and can't necessarily be seen. So there's more to it. There are other aspects of you that can communicate that kind of connection. But honestly, more so than even the camera itself, unless you're auditioning and you're looking off camera, right? You've seen audition tapes where it's just on them and there's nobody else in the frame and they're talking to somebody else. Unless that's happening, if you're actually in a 2-shot with another actor, that kind of connection does way more to benefit your scene partner than it does for you, even in performance. It's an incredibly generous way to perform, to commit to being completely connected like that. And I promise you, if you will implement that and find a way to work on that skill and to hone that, anybody you work with is going to rave about you to whomever they talk to. And you will gain a lot of favor amongst your fellow actors. Her mom says that to her about Edward. It's something along those lines. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think I've seen most of the Twilight movies, and at least in bits and pieces, I don't remember anything else about that. It just that one scene. They're on the balcony. I think It's really bright. I remember that. And she was very pale. So it was probably Kristen Stewart, right? Kristen Stewart. That's probably what it was. By the way, she's amazing in a movie called American Ultra. If you haven't seen that, oh my God, you have to see it. It's so incredible. Anyway, getting off topic. Darcy, you're distracting me. Thank you. Yeah. So Twilight. But no, the eye contact thing, it's great. I don't know if this fits. I mean, I guess it fits. Working on eye contact is important. Do not apologize. I absolutely, I can't, I'm almost fanboying out over here. I really appreciate you showing up. Thank you.
Then the date's not going so well. So you have to realize for yourself that you, as an individual, need to start making eye contact with more people. And you don't have to just do this in a class.
Darcy, have you ever felt comfortable on a first date? I've never felt comfortable
when you go to the store
on a first date ever in my life.
Buy something, make eye contact with the person who's working behind the counter. If you're going to go and talk to your friends, make a little bit more eye contact with them. Don't just be somebody who always looks at your phone 24/7. You'll be surprised how much time you literally spend on your phone overlooking people directly in their eyes. And the thing is, because we're not used to it, once you start looking people in the eyes, because it's super big for acting, if you're a beginning actor, you're going to realize how many times you really got to look people in the eyes. It's going to be super uncomfortable, and you really got to get used to that, because if you're not used to it, doesn't matter how good you are in front of the mirror. It's not going to work. It's not going to correlate when you're in front of the camera. That's why when you're in front of the mirror and you're trying to work on your scenes, you're like, wow, everything's going great. It's because you're making direct eye contact with yourself in the mirror. But then when the camera's watching you and you're talking to other people, that eye contact, you're not doing the same thing anymore. You're
I can get a good performance out of anybody, Miss Darcy.
starting to dart away and you're not really looking at the individual.
I believe it with my whole
Point of
heart.
reference for you guys to all think about. You look into their eyes, start focusing on that more. Point number 4 is this. Think about what you
And just as a side note, I know you probably didn't want to, like, this is not a comment that you expected to or probably want to linger on. But I actually, honestly, one of the keys in my experience in taking an inexperienced person and getting a good performance out of them as an actor, somebody who's not an actor, and getting a decent, honest performance. One of the biggest keys or indicators of whether or not I'll be able to do that is if, in general, in their life, they are a fairly open and vulnerable and sincere person. So I think you'd be a great candidate. I could get a good performance out of you, I think, for sure.
want, and then how are you going to go and convince, think about what you want, and then how are you going to go and convince the other person to give you what you want? So here's how this is going to work. And I want you to think about this first just in your everyday life. If there's something that you want and you know you want it, so say for example, you want to go to a party on Saturday and you got to convince your parents to allow you to go to the party. How are you going to go and interact with them to convince them to allow you to go to that party? Are you going to go and talk to them and be aggressive with them? Or are you going to be kind? Are you going to do things for yourself that's going to help you go to that party? Or are you going to do things that's going to push them away and not allow you to go to that party? You're going to do everything you can to go to that party. How you talk, how you interact, how you look at them is going to be very dependent on what you want and how you plan to go and get what you want. In our everyday lives, we do this. If we're going in our tour, we're talking to our teacher, and we want them to allow us to have extra credit for ourselves because we didn't turn in some assignments. We've all been in that spot before. How are you going to go and talk to your teacher? You're going to talk to them in a very specific tone, a very specific way. Or maybe you've been in a situation where you've been at work before, and then there's somebody who's been giving you a really hard time. You know that you have to stand up for yourself in this moment. How are you going to interact in that moment in time? Are you going to act the same way that you are with your teacher? No, you're shifting and you're adjusting in accordance to what you are trying to achieve, how you are trying to convince this person to stop being rude to you, or how you're trying to go and convince your parents to allow you to go to that party, or how you're trying to convince your teacher to, hey, maybe give you a little bit more extra credit assignments just because you didn't turn in your last 5. Now, how does this correlate with your instincts and allowing you to be in your flow state? Well, the reason that this correlates with your instincts is because you have to realize that life and the art of acting are not so different. You're trying to bring your life into the work. So when you have a scene for yourself, or you have a monologue, or whatever it is that you're working on, if you want it to be honest and true, and you really want to just work on your instincts within that moment, figure out what does your character want, and ask yourself, in a real life scenario, what would you do in that situation to convince the other person to allow you to get what you want? So if you have a scene and you're trying to convince your boss to give you a raise, in real life, if you're going to go and talk to your boss and ask them for a raise, how would you go to your boss and ask them for a raise? How you would do it, how I would do it, how my neighbor would do it would all be different because we're all unique people, and that's the point for acting. You got to bring your uniqueness into the work. So you have to think about it in real life. What would you do? In real life, how would you go and interact with your boss? If you have a scene and you have to go and ask a girl out or ask a guy out, and you're in that scene, think about it in real life. If you're going to ask somebody out, how are you going to convince them to go out with you? Are you going to be in a good mood when you ask them? Or when you ask them, are you going to be in a terrible mood? Which one would succeed in real life? So that's what you have to think about. Don't confuse acting. Just think, what would you do in your real life and bring that into the scene? Because all we're trying to do is we're trying to have a sneak peek into the private moments of life, which is what we see with film and TV. We get a sneak peek into what we usually want to be able to see for ourselves. Now, when you do this and incorporate this, you don't get stuck in your head. You start actively trying to work to achieve your goals. And when you do that, it allows you to work on your instincts, and your body starts to take over. Your mind takes over, your voice takes over, and everything just starts flowing, and you get into that flow state, easy and simple. I think we might be the first ones.
All right. So, okay. So, he had me until the very end there, because that's work. Again, that's work that you need to be doing before you go into the scene. When you do your beat work with your script, you determine what are the motivations, what are they after, what do they want, what's in their way, how are they going to deal with that, and then you set what you're doing in a scene. Just a little glimpse into the way I have been taught and teach people to do beat work, prep work with a script. You're going to break the script up into sections, not based on major beats from the plot or anything, but on internal beats, on motivations. Whenever there's a motivational shift, whenever there's a change in what you want or what you're trying to achieve, or a change in how you're going to try to achieve it, that's where you put a break, and that's where there's a quote beat shift. And that's all work that you do before you step onto the stage, before you get in front of the camera. You figure out where your beat shifts are. You figure out where your beats are. That's all they say. They don't say beat shift. They just figure out where your beats are. You make those decisions, those determinations. And then when you go on to perform, you're not carrying those up here. It's kind of like memorizing your script. You memorize it so completely the way he talked about earlier, so that when you get on stage, you don't have to think about what the line is. You can just act. And the beats are no different. So I agree with him to a point. That's one thing that's definitely a thing that you need to do. You take the time and determine what your character wants, how they're going to try to get it, what stands in their way, what they can do about that obstacle. And then you make notes of that in the script, and that becomes a part of your prep work, just like learning the lines. You're learning those beats. That way, when you get onto the stage or get in front of the camera, you can go through those moments. You can go through those beats, and without having to think about the dialogue, without having to think about what do I want and how am I going to get it, what am I going to do, am I going to get angry, am I going to get determined, am I going to try to seduce it out of them, am I going to try to lull them and like sort of just playfully jab about it, and hopefully they'll come around. You don't want to be thinking about that any more than you want to be thinking about where you're supposed to put your hand or what word you're supposed to say next. You want all of that to be instinctual. The key here, the goal, the reason that should be instinctual is because if it is, then when you're in that scene, when you're in that moment and you are delivering those lines and you have that intention, your intention is to try to tease it out of them or be very pleasant and try to convince them. And then, in this moment, you're going to beat shift into being more aggressive, more stern. And then that person delivers a line to you. You can still react instinctively, as he is fond of saying in this video. And even with that beat shift in mind, if the actor gives you something, if your scene partner gives you something that does not line up with that, you can then react again instinctively, because you've not predetermined your actual physical form. You don't want to rehearse exactly how loud you're going to be, or how that you're going to go from being polite and trying to convince them to trying to insist and show them exactly why they're wrong. You're going to be more aggressive, more assertive. You can take that, and that can be delivered in 100 different ways depending on what your scene partner gives you. And that's the key. You want to have enough structure to get you through the scene without making you feel like you're going to fall on your face, but you want to leave enough room to be free and enough room to be open, so that whenever you get to a moment, if something happens that's unexpected, you can keep rolling with that. Now, again, that may not be quite as important on the camera for like film as it is on the stage, because on stage you can't simply call cut and reset. But I still think it's valid. I still think it's very, very valid. I think that a lot of the corners that get cut for film work really cheapen the process. And that might be one of them. But and this young man seems like he's very, very trained on sort of film acting for the camera. So that might be where we're having some of our miscommunications, are sort of like, we're not quite lining up philosophically.
Ever to go and coin the phrase flow state, but it truly is a flow state working completely off of your instincts. So if you guys made it all the way to the end, congratulations. Go ahead and leave this emoji down in the comment section below, and then I'll know that you made it all the way completely to the end. Congratulations.
All right, so I don't know if I would like recommend a new actor. I haven't seen enough of his videos to say that I would recommend that an actor go and like follow his channel and to learn about how to act. I will say that he wasn't wrong, and I think that some of the issues that I had with some of his stuff, some of the things he said, may come down to philosophical differences and sort of a difference in style, because I am more of a stage actor in general, and I just believe that you should take that same kind of commitment and that same kind of effort to the screen, which doesn't happen a lot of times because of budgetary reasons or whatever, but that's just me. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of what he said was not super awesome. a lot of what he said was okay. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at some more of his stuff. He's got a 10-hour masterclass. Maybe I'll check that out one day. I have no idea, but I'm not overly excited about checking it out. I don't think that a lot of his advice was really sort of rudimentary. Some of it was incomplete, and I get it. It's for beginners. But for beginners, you start at the beginning. You start at how, well, like, for instance, I think number 3 that he gave was very much it was a decent acting tip, but I don't know, it just didn't feel like it fit in this video. It's not like a tip that for beginning actors. That's just a part of good script work. So I don't know. I'm starting to find out that I think part of my problem with these videos that I'm finding online has a lot to do with their titles. More thorough and complete, 100%. Yeah, I think it's starting smaller, really. I think it's more about, yeah, you definitely want to be more thorough. When you offer something, especially like you're saying, oh, here, do this thing, and you ignore all the work that you're supposed to do to get to that thing, that becomes a problem. Oh, no, there's an ad. If you're seeing the ad, I'm so sorry. I don't know how long it lasts. I'll wait. Oh, no, I don't want you to follow my face. Stop it. I need to fix that while we're waiting on this. If you're seeing an ad, do let me know when it's over. I think I need to change that the next time I do this, because I really don't like that. I don't know when people are watching, when they can see, when they can't see. I don't know. I don't know how long the ads run for. Are the ads done? Will it tell me when the ads are done? I have no idea. Anyway, so hopefully you're back. If you watched an ad there, if you saw an ad break, I'm so sorry about that. I'm just trying to feed my kids, man. But anyway, that was decent, not bad. Yeah, I think that you would probably want to be more thorough. The biggest problem I had is, like, for instance, with the bit that he went into about using your body, using your breath. That's not the first thing you should learn. The first thing, I mean, listen, rules can be broken. If you're a writer, if you're any kind of artistic person, I know, Darcy, I know that I haven't seen your Etsy store. I've never actually gone to it. That's kind of like bad YouTube follower, subscriber person. But if you're a creative person, there's always that point when you can start breaking the rules. You can start doing things your own way. You can start changing the structure of what you're doing, or take it to a different level by sort of tweaking things and going against the grain. It's true for any kind of art I've ever seen in my life, and it's definitely true for acting. Stop it. But you have to learn those rules first. And when you just jump to here's this little, like, quick trick you can use to help you seem like you're scared when you're not really scared internally, that's not good acting. That's not acting. Okay. I can't tell you how much I love that you're here. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. I really appreciate it. I haven't watched your latest upload, by the way. I saw that you posted on Patreon again. I haven't watched it yet, but I'll get to it probably sometime tomorrow. I'm excited to see some really exciting episodes coming up. I hope so. I hope so. I'm getting a message that YouTube is having a trouble with my stream. That shouldn't be a thing. Like, it's trying to tell me it's dropping frames, but it looks good to me. I don't see a problem. So I don't know. I don't know why it's telling me that. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad you're learning something. I hope I'm it's useful. I don't think that I didn't think that you were an actor, but maybe you can use it when you're giving your when you're watching your videos for your movies and stuff for YouTube. You can throw some of this cool insider info you're getting from me in there. That would be the hope. So we're going to jump into the next one really quick, and then I'm probably going to be moving over to Twitch. I don't do music. I try not to do music reactions here anymore on YouTube because they tend to they get blocked or stricken, and I'm scared for my stream. So I'm going to move over to Twitch after this next video, and then hopefully I'll get some people followed over there, and we'll start doing some music reactions. We're going to start with we might start with some Taylor Swift, or Darcy, if you have a request or a suggestion, absolutely. I would love to take one from you. But we're going to look at one more video. Somebody else. Oh, there's Twilight, by the way. That's the girl, right? That's the one that I was talking about. That must have been a Twilight scene. I wonder how close I was with the line. I want to know how close I was with the line. What I remember is, what was it? What I remember is, you're different with him. He moves, you move like magnets. I love that. It was so well delivered. Great. So, but we're going to check this one out. This one is pro acting coach breaks down 17 love at first sight scenes. Love that. This is actually really interesting because what's really important about a love at first sight scene is the chemistry. Thank you. I appreciate it. By the way, I used to live up there in Canada, not in your province, but I used to live in Quebec. I lived in Quebec in a small little town called Chibougamau, way up north, about 10, 12 hours north of Montreal. And I lived there for about 9 months. Loved it there. Even the winter. I even loved the winter. It was so gorgeous. But yeah, that's just a little thing about me. But let's check this out again. This is called Pro Acting Coach Breaks Down 17 Love at First Sight Scenes, Good and Bad Acting. Shout out Canada. Quebec. Poutine was my favorite thing. Poutine. I think I ate poutine like 3 times a week. I gained so much weight when I moved up there. Anyway, that's besides the point. Anybody who's I'm losing my audience. Here we go. This is an interesting one to go to. I've heard.
I had some trouble with this scene.
There's one that's.
So this is
great.
A true love at first sight moment. Hi,
Yes.
I'm Lauren Patrice Nadler,
Hello, Lauren.
and I am an acting coach and teacher and director based in Los Angeles. And we are going to be looking at clips of love at first sight scenes and commenting on the acting, good, bad, or somewhere in between. The way Bradley Cooper portrayed this, I think it was love
Bradley
at first
Cooper
sight
was
for him.
amazing.
He was in love with her, no question. I don't think she fell in love with him at the scene. I don't think she knew she loved him. He was a face in the crowd. So as an actor, you have to be so laser focused on what your intention is, and when you lose that, it doesn't work.
Look at that look on his face right now
I
as he
saw in
follows her
his
through
eyes
the room. That's
absolute
incredible.
fascination. So from an acting point of view, he just lived it.
Yeah, 100%.
He looked at her with certainty and clarity that she was the one. And to do that as an actor, you have to internalize that. It has to be something that you've either experienced or connected to. I think he did that.
Absolutely beautiful job. 10 out of 10. 10
I mean,
out of 10. 100%.
he's a star. Rarely does he rummage through the common folk, looking at talent before it's already exposed. And he sees somebody that he thinks is really talented. So he's also having a bit of a talent crush on her.
I love that phrase. Okay, I really, oh shoot, I just did something weird. I'm really going to suck at this
It was
whole
like
live
a-
streaming thing. What I was going to say is that I love that phrase, a talent crush. I get those all the time. I don't get regular crushes very often, but I would get talent crushes on people all the time. It happens because there's nothing more, to me anyway. I don't want to say that. There are few things more attractive than someone who's sort of living their authentic self And when someone's truly talented at something, whether it's singing or dancing or writing or whatever the thing is, that thing that they're so passionate about that it's a part of their DNA, and you can just see it like emanating off of them. There's nothing more attractive to me than than seeing a person sort of in that space, just being 100% who they are. It's just such a beautiful thing to see, and I don't want to cheapen it because I don't think it's necessarily a thing where like, oh, I have a talent crush on this person, now I want to be romantically or any kind of like intimately involved. It's just a sense of I want to be around that, right? That sort of at homeness. I want to be around that as much as I can, and it's not as common as you'd think. It's really not. There's another level to that doesn't get reached just a whole lot, and it's really special when it does. So I liked her. I like that phrasing. I would love to hear him give some commentary on what he did to prepare for this.
Threefold love affair he was having with her talent, the culmination of his life, and the condition he was in, and him wanting to get away from stuff. He really did layer that in. And the fact that he directed it was amazing to me, to have your head in all those areas. And he did a fantastic job.
Is that me?
See?
Beautiful. Oh, I haven't seen this movie probably since before the turn of the millennium.
So this is actually a magnificent love at first sight scene. Through the tank, he spots her, and he's taken back by her beauty.
Claire Danes does not get enough respect.
And in this moment
on her
where
name.
his eyebrows just raise playfully as he's looking right at
And
her,
he's
when
young.
we know
It's perfect for him.
that when they're shooting this, she's not over there. That's where the camera is. So the fact that he could have that moment by himself where we could fully feel like he's addressing this love moment with her is really wonderful. I mean, she's so enchanting and lovely in it, but there's this part of me that when watching her from an actor's teacher's point of view.
I don't know what she's about to say, but I'm going to say this. I don't buy it from her as much as I did from Leo.
I can feel her thinking, I need to look like I'm being noticed and like he loves me at first sight, and
she's not in her flow
mysterious
state.
and haunting.
I don't mean to make fun.
Reaction
The
to
other
seeing
guy,
him was a little contrived, a little designed, and I think she could have done almost a little
He's
less
perfectly
and just
well-intentioned.
been right there with him.
Yeah, I
also
think-
been caught by surprise.
Part of what I think I see a lot in this particular scene with Claire Danes in this moment right there, it's almost like the equivalent of when an actor delivers a line as if they were waiting to deliver it, right? As if they knew what they were going to say. It doesn't matter what their scene partner says. It doesn't matter what else happens in the room. It doesn't matter how the emotions of the other players in the room changes. They're going to say what they were going to say, exactly how they rehearsed saying it. That's kind of the vibe I got from this particular look here. So I get exactly what she's saying. I picked up on that exactly the same, I think.
At first sight, and I'm mysterious and haunting. Her reaction to seeing him was a little contrived, a little designed, and I think she could have done almost a little less and just been right there with him. Also been caught by surprise by just seeing him through the tank.
He's amazing. It almost makes me mad how good he is.
But the whole scene, I mean, the way it's orchestrated between the music and it's almost like it couldn't fail. The photography was stunning. They were well matched. She just did this extra thing and she could have been directed out of it.
Agreed. Again, in film, they don't always give them the time. I've never seen that movie.
Smith? I love the Smiths.
Sorry?
I said I love the Smiths.
that expression right there. Did you see that?
You've
Hold on. Did you see that change? Right there. Boom.
Sorry?
He's not even
I
looking
said
at
I
her.
love the Smiths.
And then, oh, wait a second. Did you see it? It's so good.
Sorry?
I said I love the Smiths.
She's a stranger. And then, oh my God, she's amazing. So fast.
You've good taste in music.
Like the Smiths?
Yeah.
He's a little...
Wait, I'm going to go back and look. I want to see what she was doing. I was so focused on him. I want to see what she did in that moment when he had that shift.
Said I love the Smiths.
Nothing. That's so wonderful.
You have good taste in music.
The Smiths.
Yeah.
He's a little surprised that she knows what song. She can hear it through the headphones. He thought he was alone. I don't even think it was the music. I feel like he's just surprised that she talked to him at all.
Yeah, 100%.
To die by your side is such a heavenly.
It was almost like whenever he first turned around and looked, he expected to be asked, what time it was, or, like he didn't expect an actually engaged human being, especially one who looks and sort of comes off as sweetly and beautifully as she does. He didn't expect that to be there waiting for him. This really open, vulnerable, just innocent, completely present smile on this lovely young woman who's just there to have a conversation. She has spoken to him and she's engaged. Her eyes were there, the connection, the eye contact was there. But more than that, she was there with him. She didn't just say nice choice of music and then move on, look in her bag, look forward, disconnect. She stayed connected and just was open to an interaction. And that's not a common thing for especially like a young guy. I think he's supposed to be dorky here. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's supposed to come off as unattractive, I guess. But he is not expecting this kind of engagement from a pretty young woman. And look, guys are easy, man. Guys are easy. A simple compliment, a smile and a wink, and a pleasant phrase can turn a guy's day completely right side up. And you can see it happen here. It's so beautiful.
She talked to him at all.
To die by
He's still
your
surprised.
side,
He's
such
so
a
shocked that she's even
heavenly
talking
way
to him.
die. I love him.
I thought she did a nice job of just kind of dropping a seed. Joseph Gordon-Levitt had a wonderful moment as she leaves the elevator, and he's sort of like,
oh, she telegraphed it. I wanted to see
what just happened?
Holy.
I think he feels like he should run after
Been
her
there,
or
buddy.
doesn't know what to do.
Been
this
there.
scene
Seen
for
it.
me,
Felt
it's
it.
just like a seed,
Know
and that's
exactly
a
what that
great
is.
way to pull somebody in.
That was
Again,
beautiful.
that's the writing. So did these actors accommodate that? Did they serve it? I think so. I mean, I think that, again, it's not meant to be really, really that deep. It's not a dramatic scene. It's like,
Not for
I like
her.
you, you like me,
It is
sure.
incredibly deep
and now
for
let's
him.
see where this goes.
This is a powerful moment for him. And for her, it was just her being pleasant and being happy
in my own world.
and being friendly.
Didn't understand.
Vanessa is in so much pain. They are just being directed to like be super uncomfortable, walk away, and then have a moment to come back and not really know why. Zach is
It's
like
incredibly contrived. Yeah.
trying his best to just kind of honor the task. I think he's doing his best with what he's got. And she's just in agony.
Yeah, this
she
might be
also
the case
didn't
of just
have
a
enough
bad
experience
script.
at the time when she made this to fight for a performance that she might have wanted to have. It
Music
feels like she
requests
was
will
like
be happening here in a
bamboozled
little
into
while. We're going
like
to go over to
posturing.
Twitch for
And
that,
I feel
though.
like
I'm not
she
going to
didn't
do
know
any
what else
live
to
music
do.
requests here on YouTube. It is a danger for me. But if you would like the link to my Twitch channel, I'm going to leave it here really quickly. I should be able to do this without having to type it every single time. But if you want to go follow me over there, I'll be going over there shortly, and I'll be taking music reaction requests there and doing several of my own. I'm going to assume I'll need to, but I won't be doing music requests here again on YouTube because they tend to they tend to cause trouble for my channel. So I'm trying to avoid that. This whole scene, however, I don't like it. It may be the script. I think this is I can't remember. This is one of those movies that like Disney Channel movies or whatever, right? And there are moments when it feels incredibly contrived, when the walking away is not committed, when the turning around is not motivated. But she's right. This may be a thing where the director's like, just look this way, just look that way. And they really didn't have much to work with.
I think that it's the writing. I think it's the story. When else would that happen but in a Disney movie?
Yeah, could be, totally. Yeah, I didn't buy any of that. Never seen this movie either, although Heath Ledger is one of my all-time favorites.
Legendary
High School
movie.
Musical, that's what it is. Okay.
Legendary relationship.
Sometimes the cringe ones are the best.
So The struggle that they're having in the scene right now is to even look at each other, much less talk to each other.
He's a little more brazen.
So we watch these guys silently check each other out. Not only do they not want anyone else to see, they don't even want each other to see. They don't have any words to use here, but there has to be some kind of a setup for what ultimately becomes an incredible love story. So the whole performance has to be in their body. A lot of what played into them being able to show their audience that there was something happening was the awkwardness, the shifting, the movement.
Well, I kind of agree. I really feel like
it's very difficult to portray or to send a clear message out without any words at all.
I really feel like that. What is this guy's name here? I've forgotten his name. Jake Gyllenhaal. I really feel like his character is being a little more brazen. He's more, maybe not like completely openly, but he's flirting fairly openly. At least I'm seeing it all over the place. Heath Ledger's character is being very coy about it. He's keeping his cards very close to the chest, but not
a tricky
him.
task.
I don't see that.
You know,
at all
as an actor, we have to climb inside our characters and.
I mean, he's being a little cautious.
embody our
Obviously, you don't want to make
characters from head to toe.
assumptions
And
in
I
that
think the
situation,
actors
but
did a very good job of that.
But he's not trying to hide it as much, I think, as Heath Ledger's character was.
Basically, this is Michael Cera's
Cera.
thing. He telegraphs with very few words what every young teenage boy is thinking when he sees somebody that sparks an interest, but he's letting you see it. So I think he's living in his nerves and his angst. I don't know if I'd call it love. I might call it lust or
infatuation,
anxiety, but I thought he had the layers in there.
Why does everything have to be so complicated?
He turns himself inside out.
Hey, what's up?
It works stylistically in certain types of movies.
Okay, you might hate me after this, but I thought this was the Perks of. I thought this was the Wallflower one. This is Scott Pilgrim, as I can't remember the rest of the title. I thought this was the Wallflower one. I'm so sorry. Michael Cera is an interesting case study because he's very much Michael Cera all the time, and there is a point that this only works in specific films. I would really love to see him in something that's actually played straight and played very, very realistically, because as of now, I mean, a lot of comics are really good at this and can't really jump into more serious roles. Of course, there are a ton of exceptions to that, obviously. But like the great Robin Williams, rest in peace, absolutely nailed everything he did. But sometimes this shtick that they do, the sort of like this particular thing, only works if it's dramatized. I mean, sorry, not dramatized, if it's stylized, and the film is done in a particular way. Because otherwise, it just comes off as way like it doesn't feel real.
Well, Cera movies, for example. So he's kind of adorable on this.
So it's a balancing act, but he's great in what I've seen him in. It's perfect.
Yes.
Twilight, Kristen Stewart. Robert Pattinson is a phenomenal actor, by the way. I think he got pigeonholed here with these movies, but he's a phenomenal actor.
You know, it's a teenage moment where he's having a real struggle with not,
Looks like he's gonna
eating
vomit.
her or sucking her blood in this moment. She, on the other hand, just thinking like, what's up?
Just follow along till you catch up. Right,
Looks like he's
today
gonna
we're going
vomit.
to be observing the behavior of planaria, aka flatworms.
I just don't think the scene, for me, would lead to taking them on the love story that they went on. The only thing tipping us off is the wind in her hair and the camera pushing in and a momentary angsty look, but I wouldn't have, tumbled a love affair out of that.
The way she smells her hair. I think, again, this is another one that kind of comes down to the writing.
I think something else could have been done other than like.
I kind of feel like he was. I remember this scene. I've seen this scene multiple times.
Supposedly is in love with
Because,
her.
I mean, it's been
and right
memed to
now it
hell.
was just about a stink bomb
He wants
instead
to
of
eat
like
her, yeah.
an aroma of
Yeah, I
love
think
combined with something dangerous.
I think that was
what would have
you know,
made this
that
more
was the thing.
compelling would be
He's
if
just,
actually
as an actor,
his
he's doing
guard
what
just
he's
dropped from
he's
the
being
one
told
task
to do.
he
He's
had,
doing
which
what's
was
in the
not to
script,
eat her
what the director
and not
wants him
smell
to do.
her. To
It just
like,
is a bad choice. It's just
this is
a bad
amazing.
choice.
I know that vampire movies are supposed to be dark and mysterious and very emo.
Are you afraid?
But I think that he should have leaked out a little bit of just authentic, really appealing desire in there. A little bit of like mainstream desire, a moment where we could take the trip with them into the love.
I think that, what they probably could have done, if that was in the book, hey, he can't hardly control himself. He has to cover his nose because of her scent. And it makes him look like it makes it look like she stinks and he can't stand it. They probably could have like played with that a little bit, and instead of like I can't stand it, it's overwhelming me, so I have to cover my nose, it could have been more like, I can't stand it, it's overwhelming me because I want to go to her. Like if they could have like maybe narrowed it down from, yeah, he wants to go to her to eat her, okay, I guess, if that's romantic, but if they could have narrowed it down to he wants to go to her, like he wants to close the space between them. He wants to be nearer to her. I think they could have done that. Still made it look as intense, and without it, of course, then they wouldn't have had the whole her smelling her hair thing, and they made it kind of a joke. So I don't know. I don't know about that. But again, I've seen that scene. It's been memed so many times. So maybe there was something else they could have done with it. Maybe the source material just didn't leave any room.
Love story.
Don't know. I never flown in a plane before.
This video is way longer than I thought it
Sometimes
was.
you don't need a plane to fly. Sell TVs?
He had the daunting task of having to be uber polite and not telegraph his feelings so he wouldn't be misunderstood.
I don't know this one.
I thought he was subtle. I thought he could have done more. He just didn't know what to do with her. And as an acting coach, I would have said to him, think about what it is that you're experiencing when you're seeing her. What do you want? Do you want her to like you? I just couldn't tell what his position was
he seems a
on
little
meeting
blank.
her right from the get-go. She definitely outshined him in it. She's busy smizing
I'm gonna do the same
and
thing I did before.
showing us that
didn't do
she's
this.
feeling, stirred up by him.
I don't think we need but these are definitely stylized. We don't need as much of these.
When he reaches
scenes.
out to her outside in the car, his eyes got shinier. He just seemed dead in his eyes, and then he let it go. He let himself warm up to her, which actually was probably the best thing for him to do. He suddenly realized, oh, okay, she could like me, so yeah, let's do this.
Where you work?
Why? You looking for a job?
No, I just thought maybe, one night we could get together.
Well, if it's meant to be, you'll find me.
There's a lot going on in the scene, and it's a musical, and it's a rom-com, and it's supposed to be funny, and it's supposed to be campy.
It's Johnny Depp. Hi, baby.
You gotta love Johnny Depp. I mean, everything from The Swallow. This, stylistically, he gets a pass on it because it's a spoof.
It's a spoof of comedy again. I don't know how as an acting coach that you critique these things from the perspective of somebody who's talking to like newer actors, right? Because like they're spoofing, comedy is a whole nother beast, and it's something else to talk about, absolutely. But there are definite rules to comedy that directly break rules of straight acting, and that's a tightrope to watch or to walk. So I think actually, if it's okay with everybody, if everybody here, I'm not Carol, if you're still here and you'd like to come on over, I will definitely try to get to that over there. I'm going to jump over to Twitch here in just a second. I'm going to throw on this little video, some cute furry friends of mine being funny for just a minute so that I can take a quick break, stand up for about 2 minutes and get some blood flowing back to my legs, go splash some water on my face, take a second, and then I'll be right back. And we're going to switch over to Twitch. I'm going to have to end this stream to start that one. So I do hope again that those of you who are here will join me over there. I believe I've already posted the link. I hope all of you are following me over there, and I will. That's exciting for me that you're uploading stuff for tomorrow. I've been following your Veronica Mars stuff too. That's really good. I love that show. But yeah, pop over. Do request something when you get there. I will, whatever you want, anything you want. If I haven't seen it already, then I will. I'll go check it out. As a matter of fact, I think, yeah. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna go start a stream over there on Twitch. I hope you guys will follow me over there. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out. This is gonna be a thing I'm gonna try to do at least a few times a week. Talk about more actory type stuff over here on this channel on these lives. I'm gonna try to get some guests lined up for the future live streams, and then music reaction stuff. That's all gonna be on Twitch. I'm just gonna keep saying that over and over again. Hopefully, everybody will get to hear it at some point. But thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna end this now, but I will hopefully see you guys on Twitch.